If you liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. This video, we are going to take a look at the Nemesis Dreadknight and the Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight. The Grey Knights in 10th edition Codex has brought some changes to the Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight that separates it between the Nemesis Dreadknight even more than our Grey Knights index. We now have 5 different detachments that we can use these units to build a list with. The Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight is a character unit. That means we can equip an enhancement. Let's take a look at these 2 datasheets and then some of the enhancements and stratagems we can use on these 2 units. We will start by taking a look at the Nemesis Dreadknight datasheet. The Nemesis Dreadknight has a movement of 8, toughness of 8 with a 2-up save and a 4+ invulnerable, 13 wounds, 6+ leadership, and an OC of 4. For the ranged weapons, we have a Gatling Silencer, 24-inch range, 12 attacks, hitting on a 3+, strength 6, AP 0, damage 1, psychic, and sustain hits 1. We have the Heavy Incinerator, 18-inch range, 2d6 attacks, automatic hit since it is a torrent weapon, strength 6, AP 1, damage 1, with ignores cover and torrent. The last weapon is the Heavy Side Cannon, 24-inch range, 6 attacks, hit on a 3+, strength 10, AP 2, damage 3, with ignores cover. For the melee weapons, we have the Dread Fist, the Nemesis Demon Hammer, or the Nemesis Greatsword. For the most part, we take the Demon Hammer, 5 attacks, hitting on a 3+, strength 14, AP 3, damage D6 plus 1. It's that strength 14 is why we take this. The other weapons just don't have a high enough strength to threaten vehicle and monster units. For abilities, we had Deadly Demise D3, Deep Strike, Gate of Infinity, and Indomitable Spirit. Indomitable Spirit, this model is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn at which it advanced or fell back. The Nemesis Dreadnought has not really seen much change from its index version. The only unit we have in the Codex with the ability to advance shoot in charge or fall back shoot in charge. This does make a difference in all but one of our detachments. Even then, we have to spend 1 CP on a stratagem to advance and charge a unit. We can have this Dreadknight advancing an average 11 inches. If we want to add a charge, that is an average 18-inch movement, not too bad at all. We can equip 2 ranged weapons on the Nemesis Dreadknight. There may be an exception. For the most part, Grey Knights players choose the Heavy Side Cannon and the Heavy Incinerator. The melee weapon is almost always that Nemesis Demon Hammer. There are plenty of detachments that can use an advanced shoot-and-charge Dreadknight. In the 10th edition Grey Knights Index, the Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknight had the same weapon profiles without the advance and charge ability. It had a reroll hits, wounds, and damage into monster and vehicle units, and a once per game reduce a stratagem ability. On to the Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight. We will start with the datasheet, which has seen a fair amount of change from the Index to the 10th edition Codex. The Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight has the same profile as the Nemesis Dreadknight, movement 12, toughness 8, a 2+ save with a 4+ invulnerable, 13 wounds, 6 leadership, and the OC of 4. It has the same range weapons with a few extras. We have the Fragstorm Grenade Launcher, which can be equipped with any of these weapons. An 18-inch range, D6 attacks, hitting on a 3+, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1, so these are some chest-mounted grenade launchers. The other new weapon is the Sublimator, 18-inch range, 2 attacks, hitting on a 3+, strength 9, AP 4, damage D6, psychic, melt of 4, and twin linked. We also have 2 new melee weapon options. The first one is the Nemesis Flail, 10 attacks, hitting on a 2+, strength 5, AP 1, damage 2 with psychic. The other is the Nemesis Mace, 5 attacks, hitting on a 2+, strength 6, AP 3, damage 3 with anti-character 2+ and precision. For the abilities, we have Deadly Demise D3, Deep Strike, Gate of Infinity, Surge of Wrath. Each time this model makes a melee attack that targets a monster or vehicle unit, you can reroll the hit roll, the wound roll, and the damage roll. Warrior Strategist, once per battle round, one model from your army with this ability can use it when its unit is targeted with a stratagem. If it does, reduce the CP cost of that stratagem by 1 CP. The Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight has 1 new ranged weapon, 2 if you include the chest-mounted grenade launcher, the Sublimator, a Twin Lake multi-melta with melta 4. Only strength 9, it won't be setting the world on fire. it still will add some huge potential anti-tank damage. Roll hot and we could have a big knight and then charge it to finish it off. Don't worry about the Fragstorm grenade launcher, it comes free as a third gun for anti-light infantry and horde damage. We can equip 2 ranged weapons along with the grenade launcher. We want the heavy side cannon and the sublimator. The heavy side cannon is great for those elite 3 wound models. The Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight has more potential anti-tank damage than the Nemesis Dreadknight, unlike the Indexed when they had the same weapon profiles. On to our melee weapons. We have 2 new melee weapon options in the Codex for our Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight. The Nemesis Flail is a bit disappointing. It seems like an anti-medium infantry weapon. We already have a lot of light-medium infantry shooting and melee in our Grey Knights army. Anti-tank is what we struggle at. The Codex has given us more anti-tank options. We are still not an anti-tank faction. The Nemesis Mace does have some interesting play into certain factions. 5 attacks hitting on a 2+, strength 6, AP 3, damage 3 with precision and anti-character 2+. Great for Necrons, Sisters of Battle or other character heavy list. What else has a lot of characters who will not like anti-character 2+, with AP 3 and damage 3? Oh yes, Imperial or Chaos Knights. The big knights are character units. Time to bash out some kneecaps. The Grandmaster's ability Surge of Wrath. Surge of Wrath is the same ability as the Index version. Reroll hits, wounds, and damage into some vehicle and monster units. The wording has changed for the better. I do believe it before you could only use this on one of our Grandmaster Nemesis Dreadknights, and now it is on any of these Grandmasters. Make it into combat, into a monster or vehicle. They can reroll their hits, wounds, and damage. Great for using the Demon Hammer to bash out some vehicle and monster units. That Nemesis Flail can bash out those kneecaps even harder. No advance and charge on our Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknight. When they do make combat, they have much more damage output into vehicle and monsters than our normal Nemesis Dreadknight. Warrior Strategist. This ability is much better than the previous version. The Index version, this was a once per game ability. Now we can reduce the cost of a stratagem by 1 CP once per battle round. The Nemesis Dreadknight only has the one ability, Advance Shoot in Charge or Fallback Shoot in Charge, while the Grandmaster has the 2 abilities. Unlike the Index, these 2 abilities plus the new weapons start to outweigh the Advanced Shoot in Charge or the Fallback Shoot in Charge ability on the Nemesis Dreadknight. Now I want to take a look at some of our Grey Knights detachments, the enhancements we could put on the Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknight, and the stratagems we could use on either of these Dreadknights. Remember, for these stratagems, we could use the Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknight's Warrior Strategist ability to reduce the cost of the stratagem by 1 CP. Of course, we can only use this once per battle round, but it does make a difference, a possible 5 CP saved over the course of a game. The point of this video was not to say the Nemesis Dreadknight is garbage now, more to highlight that these are much different units compared to how they were in the Grey Knights Index, more so our Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknight. I feel the Grandmaster will be the one taken if a person can only take 1 or 2 Dreadknights in their list. The Sanctic Spearhead, our vehicle detachment, will of course have 3 of each in many of their lists. With so many good enhancements and stratagems to choose from in each of our different detachments, the Dreadknights are here to stay. Let's take a look at some of the strong rules from our different detachments that really power up these Dreadknights. First up, we have our army rule Gate of Infinity, where at the end of the opponent's phase, we can pick up our Nemesis Dreadknight and put it into strategic reserves, which will allow us to rapid ingress it in future turns if we need to. The first detachment I want to take a look at is the Banishers. The detachment rule is Channeled Force, where at the start of the fight phase we take a leadership test. If we pass that test, we can either have sustained hits 1 or lethal hits on our melee weapons. For some strong enhancements, we have Sigil of the Hunt. In your shooting phase, each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. Then we have 66 Steel. In your shooting phase, each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, improve the armor penetration by 1. And remember, these enhancements can only be put on our Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknight. For some strong stratagems, we have Celerity for 1 CP. This will allow our Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknights to advance and charge. We don't really need advance and charge with our Nemesis Dreadknights, since they have the ability to do that anyways. Next up is Chaos Bane in our shooting phase. This will give our ranged weapons the Anti-Chaos +4 ability. Circle of Sanctuary for 1 CP. Until the end of the phase, enemy units that are set up on the battlefield as reinforcements cannot be set up within 12 inches horizontally of your model. Our Nemesis Dreadknights have pretty big bases. It allows us to create a bigger denied 12-inch bubble. The last stratagem is Shadow of Anarch. In your opponent's movement phase, if they end a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 inches of our Nemesis Dreadknights, we can put that Nemesis Dreadknight into strategic reserves or do a normal move up to 6 inches. The next detachment is the Brotherhood Strike. The Brotherhood Strike detachment rule: each time a unit from your army is set up using the Deep Strike ability, until the end of the turn, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, it can reroll the hit roll and reroll the wound roll of 1, and this works in our shooting or the fight phase. For some enhancements to put on the Grandmaster, we have the Blinding Aura. Each time the bearer's unit is set up using the Deep Strike ability, until the end of the turn, enemy units cannot use the Fire Overwatch stratagem to shoot the bearer's unit. We also have Purity of Purpose, Grey Knights model only. Each time this bearer's unit is set up using the Deep Strike ability, until the end of the turn, you can reroll charge rolls made for the bearer's unit. For some of the stronger stratagems in the Brotherhood Strike for our Nemesis Dreadknights, we do have Combat Manifestation for 1 CP, and we can use our Deep Strike ability and arrive within 6 inches of enemy models. We cannot charge, but we can shoot though. Next up is Duty Unending for 1 CP. In your opponent's movement phase, if they fall back from one of our Dreadknights, we can put that Dreadknight into strategic reserves. Purgation Pattern for 1 CP in your shooting phase. As long as our Dreadknight has arrived using the Deep Strike ability that turn, our ranged weapons will have the Sustain Hits 1 ability. Great on that new Sublimator to try to get some extra hits through. Last up, we have Shining Veil for 1 CP in the opponent's shooting phase. This will give our Dreadknights the Stealth ability. The next detachment is the Warpbane Task Force. Our Dreadknights can reroll hits of 1. If we can get our Dreadknights wholly within our hallowed ground, we can reroll the hit roll instead. For our enhancements, we do have the Mandulian Reliquary. While this bearer's unit is not battle shocked, add 3 to the bearer's objective control characteristic. We also have Paragon of Sanctity. Once per battle at the start of any phase, the bearer can select one friendly Grey Knights unit within 18 inches invisible to it. If it does, until the end of the phase, that unit is within your army's hallowed ground. There is only one stratagem in the Warpbane Task Force that does work on our Nemesis Dreadknights, and that is the Sanctified Kill Zone. In the shooting phase or the fight phase, as long as our Dreadknight is wholly within our army's hallowed ground, we can reroll the wound roll of 1. If we are wholly within our hallowed ground, we will be able to reroll our hits, and if we use this stratagem, reroll our wound roll of 1 as well. The last Grey Knight detachment I wanted to mention was the Sanctic Spearhead. The detachment rule is Mailed Fist. Our Grey Knight vehicles will get an auto 6-inch advance as well as assault on their ranged weapons. Surprisingly enough, there's only 2 enhancements that we can put on the Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknight. The first one is Driven by Duty. Each time the bearer piles in or consolidates, the bearer can move up to 6 inches instead of 3 inches. Next is Sigil of Exigence. Once per battle in your opponent's shooting phase, while the bearer's unit is selected as a target of ranged attacks, you can remove the bearer's unit from the battlefield and then set it back up again anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. If the bearer is no longer an eligible target, your opponent can select new targets for any attacks that targeted the bearer's unit. This is the vehicle detachment. A lot of these stratagems are going to work on the Nemesis Dreadknight. These are some of the stronger and more unique stratagems. Abominus class target for 1 CP, our Nemesis Dreadknights will have +1 to the wound roll into vehicle and monster units. Armored Aegis for 1 CP, in your command phase, one model in your unit regains up to 3 lost wounds. This isn't D3 lost wounds, this is just a flat 3 wounds. The last stratagem I want to mention was True Silver Will for 1 CP. Any phase just after a Grey Knight Psyker vehicle unit from your army suffers mortal wounds. Until the end of the phase, models in your unit have the 4+ Feel No Pain ability against mortal wounds. This may sound familiar. This is a lot of the same wording as our Custodes Arcane Genetic Alchemy stratagem. We do have 2 other detachments we can use these Dreadknights in. I feel these are the 4 strongest detachments when we want to use a Dreadknight, especially the Sanctic Spearhead or the Banishers detachment. Let's finish the video with some final thoughts. This was an overview of the difference between our Grandmaster Nemesis Dreadknight and our Nemesis Dreadknight. Both are great units in the Codex. One is very fast, using Advance, Shoot, and Charge, while the other hits much harder into vehicle and monster units. The fact that the Grandmaster Nemesis Dreadknight can take an enhancement does add to their damage or utility. It also adds to their points cost. Reducing a stratagem by 1 CP is very helpful for more CP dependent stratagems. What do you think of the Nemesis Dreadknight or the Grandmaster and Nemesis Dreadknight in the 10th edition Grey Knights Codex? Subscribe for battle reports, list videos, and other Warhammer 40K content. Channel members gain early access to videos as well as access to the channel Discord. Like always, thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by.